Good morning, everyone. I hope this morning finds you doing well. We are in, I believe, the end of the third week of the semester. So we're plugging along. We're doing pretty well here. I just wanted to go over some updates with you all and then do a quick lecture concerning where you need to be at this point in the semester. You see pulled up here on the screen behind me is your Moodle page. And I'm going to go all the way back to the home page. The first page that appears when you get in our course, 102W2Q, you see here that you have the modules. You should have completed at this point the introduction and orientation module, and you should have access now to the Unit 1, Develop a Prospectus, and Essay 1. Now, for the purposes of this semester and simplicity, the prospectus will be Essay 1. Those two assignments I've merged into a singular assignment. However, there is a handout in the unit that you'll need to do to help you develop the prospectus and then convert it into an essay. And I'll talk more about that momentarily. In case you haven't been checking on here, you also will be getting news updates. It's kind of hard to see probably behind the video there. I don't think it would be down here. You might see it over here, this area right here. I'll be updating you periodically during the week, and it has some upcoming events. So even though we're past the orientation module, you see that you have a email etiquette assignment that's due this Monday, and then on Tuesday that library unit quiz will close and you won't have access to it anymore. And then you also you wouldn't see the submissions there. So your next step is to go in here and start working in this Moodle book that I clicked on. So you see here, this is the Moodle book. It has the little book icon on the side. You can see it with the cursor. You click on that and you start working through it. Again, if you haven't been able to find the reading calendar in the other three linked places, it is linked here for you. So you know what readings to do for this section. The readings are in the second unit. So this was the first unit. Now we've moved into this unit here. And you're to read the Moodle book, the CRG section on the prospectus, the CRG section on the description of a paper, the CRG section on self-assessment. On Moodle, I have a document that things that make writing teachers cringe. If you had me for 101, you've seen this before. But this document also appears, I believe, in the Composition and Rhetoric Guide. I know it has in previous editions as a resource for you. It's typically, I believe, in the last section. Let's see here. Yeah, page 186. So if something happens in that link in Unit 1 is not working for you on page 186, you can find it as well. And then we have the first section in the reader. This is the reader, the world of the image. I've talked about this in the first module. I talked about this in a few videos. Now, I am aware that the rental bookstore was all out of copies of this reader, and I think there was some issues at the McNeese bookstore with it. So if you had to order it online, that's fine, but you should have it by now. You can also go on to Longman. Longman's the publisher, and order it as well, but you have to have this book. And it's about 34 pages of introductory articles about sight and vision and how we perceive the world and those processes to get you to start thinking about this topic. And then you'll go in the Moodle book and you'll read the essay prompts and also the section on how to access my Turnitin comments, because that's how I will grade this paper. So you need to work through these one at a time, these steps one at a time. Take your time here. So here you have developing a prospectus, developing a prospectus. This is where you get the things that make writing teachers cringe document. And you can see it here. It also appears in your textbook on page 186. And notice it's linked in a couple places on that page. So if one of the links doesn't work, at least one of the three should. Now, Then you need to move on to the library unit. The library unit, I know some of you might have had some trouble if you've already been working on it with this link here to get your pin. The link has been updated. You can see now that it is working, how to access this. So if you did have that issue, that has been resolved. And then you need to go through this and work on each of these and complete that quiz. And that all needs to be done before the 9th. So that would be Tuesday. And that due date again is right here in the upcoming events if you're not keeping track of that. All right, so the next thing after you complete that is a little intro on the reading assignments and our topic, the world of the image, and our reader. And then after you've gone in and read that section, you'll need to post here on the discussion forum. And remember how these discussion forums are graded. You have to practice in-text citations using MLA format. So that would come out of this textbook, how to format cite properly. And you'll be looking for, in the MLA section, you'll be looking for in-text citations for a work, let me see here, a work in an anthology. That would be the wording that you would look for in that little embedded table of contents. In this version, this is the 4th edition of a writer's resources on page 291. It's typically pretty early in the MLA section of whichever edition you have. That would give you the in-text citation. The works cited would be 2 or more items from one anthology, or a work in an anthology or textbook or chapter in an edited book, because that's what this is. This is a reader, so it's a collection of essays that were put together by Trudy Smoke and Alan Robbins. Okay, so you need to practice doing those in-text citations in your posts. You need to further the discussion. You need to respond to other people. The best way to think of this is if you're posting one thread and 4 responses, you're meeting those 5 post requirement, minimum requirement to approach the 100 points for this, the 100%. Now notice the wording there is approach. That means that's the maximum amount of points you can earn. You have to have 5 posts, and each post is worth 20 points. Now, if you only have 4 posts, the maximum amount of points you can earn for this assignment would be 80. 3 posts, 60. 2 posts, 40. 1 post, 20. And then after that, each of those posts is graded using that rubric that I gave you all in the syllabus, and that's also explained in the first forum. The forum is quite important because in a way it's a way for me to test that you are reading the assignments, to check your understanding of the reading, to guide you toward developing this paper. In a way, it acts like a face-to-face class meeting would. So if you think about it, this forum that we have here is open for a couple of weeks. And in that instance, it would be the equivalent of 6 hours of class time. That's 4 class meetings. If you think of a class that meets twice a week, it meets about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes. That's 3 contact hours a week, 6 hours. So you should be giving about 6 hours of time to the discussion forum. If you're not doing that, it's basically like skipping class. And that's the logic of it. So if you're doing the readings, you're doing the work, and you're in here and you're devoting about 6 hours of time to the discussion forum, you should have no trouble at all meeting the 5 basic requirements for that, the 5 post requirements, and then also doing those posts so that they're meaningful. You know, in the introduction forum, a lot of people were saying things like, "Hi, I'm glad you're here," and that's great, but it doesn't really create conversation. We want to create conversation about our topic. Now we have a topic, you have done the reading, you need to have a discussion and illustrate for me that you are reading. I cannot emphasize that enough, that this is really replacing a reading quiz, and I think in that way it's actually a lot more meaningful for you. So instead of this multiple choice exam, which may be easier, but instead of this multiple choice exam where you're just guessing at the answers and you can kind of skip over it without reading, this actually forces you to read. And you really need to read these chapters because they are going to form the foundation This book is going to form the foundation of the essays you write this semester. So I don't want to, to do the proverbial beat a dead horse here, but the form is extremely important. It's the equivalent of your face-to-face meetings in a traditional class. So please treat it as such. It's basically class attendance. Okay, so that is the form, and it is linked here. Once you have done that, done the readings, begun the forum, you're going to also start developing your prospectus. Now I have a video here about in-text citations. I have the prompts linked for each essay in a single document in PDF format. You need to read each of these prompts here, the essay 2 prompt. You need to read that. You need to read the third essay prompt and the fourth essay prompt. And then what you're going to do is actually start working on developing the prospectus through this worksheet. This worksheet is a Microsoft Office worksheet, so you'll need Word to download it and access it and start working in it. And once that opens, I will show it how it looks to you. It's open down there. There it is. You'll want to click Enable Editing if you're working in a newer version of Microsoft Word. And I have the steps here, and they're pretty straightforward, right? Read and annotate Chapter 1 from the assigned reader. Well, you should have already done that at this point if you're participating in the forums and following my instructions and working in order. So again, I have here participate in the discussion forum in Moodle. Review the prompts for 2 through 4. Answer these questions in a separate document using complete sentences, so you can open a new document to answer. And you remember, complete sentences means that you have to use pieces of the questions to help you answer. Where appropriate, use research to support your answers. So start practicing using in-text citations from the readings. Save that document as a docx, that's the default format for Microsoft Word, and submit to the appropriate assignment. I'll show you that in just a moment. So you have all these questions here. I am not going to read them back to you, but you do need to use this to help you. And there's some key quotes here that I use to keep you thinking about how to develop this. Okay? So answering these questions will allow you to correct some of the grammar there, will allow you to then move forward and write a very thorough and thoughtful essay that's correctly formatted about your plans for this semester. Now, there are some standard rules for all academic writing. So one of you had emailed me a question about whether you can use I or you. Well, you can use first person. You can use first person in these essays. However, you would never use second person in academic writing. And the first person that you use needs to be very limited. So phrases like I believe or I think or in my opinion are unnecessary because we already know that it's your belief, your thoughts, and your opinions. You're the author. So answer these questions, but as much as possible, maintain that academic tone that's set forward and things that make writing teachers cringe. Okay, and then once you have completed that worksheet, you will submit. You will type an essay and you will submit. And all of that is set up here. I give you some formatting guidelines to remind you of that. All essays should be 4 to 5 typed pages, approximately 1,000 words. That means if you're a little over or a little bit less, it's not the end of the world. The essay must be in 12-point Times New Roman font and follow MLA format. I may ask you to turn in your rough draft. That's a possibility, and there should be evidence of significant revision between the rough and final draft. Then there's the rubrics for how to grade it and follow it, and you submit the essay there. Now you notice that I did not provide a box for you to submit this assignment. And I did that purposely because this is your pre-writing, in a sense, your rough draft for the essay. And then you will take those ideas, you see here I'm saving it as a docx, you'll take those ideas and then create a formal essay out of it. So I don't need to necessarily see your answers for that originally. So you'll submit. Here's the submit the essay one here. You'll go to this, and of course it looks different to you all than it would to me. Let me go to student view so that we can see how that looks. Okay. There we go. So it'll probably boot me out of here to the beginning of this. Oh, no, good. It sent me right back here. Student view. And then this is where you would upload. You just look for the file. And you would find here, you see my video lectures actually, but you would find your file probably saved on your desktop somewhere. I'll just show you what this looks like. We'll just pick one of these files, the new development worksheet. So you can see you would put in the title and be professional about your titles. And then you would hit this to say that this is your own work, and you'd add your submission. And you'll see in a moment, see it had a coding error. Let's go back. Hopefully this error does not come up for you. It may simply be a matter of time. If that error comes up again, I will double check that before you get to submitting that prospectus so that there are no issues here. Browse. Check. And you might want to try different browsers. Typically, McNeese recommends Firefox, and that's why I've been using it. We're still getting a coding error, so I'm going to look into that and make sure it's not an issue with the assignment. Problems that are probably caused by incorrect code. Okay, so let me check into that. I will have that fixed shortly. Do not have it as a point of frustration because you won't be here quite yet. The due date for this assignment is still a ways away. So if you look at the due date for this assignment, let me change back to my let's go back. I'm going to log out of everything and take us all the way back to the beginning. Sometimes that's the safest option. Yeah, sometimes you just got to restart it to look at it, but I want to look at it from the faculty end. You won't actually have this assignment won't actually be due until I think the first week of March, so you do have a little bit of time to get this submission going. So you can see here, yeah, due date March 1st. That's the very last day you can submit it. Now, I hope many of you choose to submit earlier, but that would be the very last day it can go in. And I will grade as I go. So you can see here, this is how I actually go in and grade and give the assignments and all that. Okay, so let's go back to that Moodle book. Once you have submitted that, and walked through the book, you'll need to view my comments once I grade. Usually it takes me about a week to comment on a paper, and you'll use my comments to help improve future papers. And then you can start moving on to the next module. Of course, this whole entire time that you're working on the prospectus and developing this essay and doing these readings and thinking about additional research and that sort of thing, you will also be communicating with everybody on the discussion forum. So the discussion forum is not something for you to wait to do until the day it is due. That's another major issue for many of you. You're waiting to do the discussion forum until the day it is due. That is not going to work, and you will not get the highest points possible for that work if you do that. In fact, there's a good chance you won't get any points because no one will respond to your post. It won't be an actual conversation, which is really what this should be. Again, treat the forum like the face-to-face meetings. It's a chance to really discuss the topics we're reading. It's a chance to really think about how you're developing the prospectus and to ask questions about the specific topic. Just be sure that you've read all the materials thoroughly before asking questions. Now, again, pace yourself as well. You know, the video that I'm recording right now, it's February 5th. The 1st is a Tuesday. March 1st is a Tuesday. I realize that Mardi Gras break's coming up for you all, so that's going to be kind of a downtime. You're not probably going to get too much done during that time. Pace yourself. You won't really need to be getting to this, and I do realize, like I said, there's a code issue I need to work on. I'm going to get that straightened out hopefully in the next hour. But you don't need to get here until about a week before it is due. I would say would be a good time. So about that last week in February. However, you know, you have until the 1st. That's the absolutely last time you can submit it. However, the module itself, the forum, again, needs to be worked on continuously. So as soon as you're done reading this text, start posting in that forum about your ideas related to the prospectus. Share some of your responses to the prospectus development assignment. Okay, as always, if there are any questions, you can post them to the Q&A forum, or actually you can post them if they're specific to this assignment, you can post them to the forum here, and that would also help. You would need to, again, cite the things you are reading so that you get those points, but you can post them there if they're specific to this issue. And I will be checking the class daily as I have been. I might not be checking it this weekend, but beginning Monday, again, I will be checking it daily. So I hope this this weekly video kind of routine is helping you all. And I look forward to seeing your comments on the forums and your responses to the readings. I find the readings quite fascinating. It's a very interesting topic to think about how our perception affects our reality. I think that's really going to be a fun topic to explore further this semester, and you can really make it into anything you want. So you could tie it to your majors, and I think that's another great aspect of this. So that's all I have for today. Again, pace yourself, work slowly, read thoroughly, work on the forum, treat the forum as 3 hours a week of work or 6 hours a week of work. 3 hours actually a week, because you should be meeting 3 hours in a face-to-face class. So really about 6 hours total on the forum. And then be working on that while you're